A man walks into a grocery store in 1995 with $20. He leaves with food, drinks, snacks, maybe even dessert. Today, that same $20 feels like an apology. And yet, most people still believe inflation is just prices going up. It's not. Inflation is one of the most powerful invisible forces in modern society. It changes governments, businesses, elections, salaries, entire generations. And the terrifying part, most people don't realize they're losing money, even while making more money. Because inflation doesn't steal from you violently. It steals slowly, quietly, professionally. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some people get destroyed during inflation, while others become richer than ever. Imagine this. You work hard all year. You finally get a raise. Your salary increases by 5%. You celebrate. You feel like life is improving. Then suddenly, groceries cost more. Rent increases. Gas rises. Subscriptions get expensive. Restaurants raise prices. And slowly, your raise disappears. That's inflation. Not just higher prices, but lower purchasing power. Meaning, your money buys less than before. Think of money like ice. Inflation slowly melts it. Not instantly, slowly enough that most people don't notice until years later. Now here's where things become dangerous. Inflation isn't always accidental. Sometimes, governments actually want inflation. Not hyperinflation, but moderate inflation. Because economies are built on movement, spending, borrowing, growth. And inflation pushes people to spend money now instead of later. Which is funny, because your grandparents used to save money under mattresses. Today, that mattress investment strategy is getting cooked alive. But this raises a bigger question. If inflation hurts people, why do governments keep allowing it? That's where things get uncomfortable. Inflation doesn't appear magically. Something causes it. Actually, multiple things. And sometimes they combine into financial chaos. The biggest reason? Too much money entering the economy. When governments print massive amounts of money, currency loses value. Why? Because money follows the same law as everything else. When supply increases too much, value decreases. Imagine 10 people sharing one pizza. Now imagine printing 50 extra paper coupons for the same pizza. Did the pizza increase? No, only the amount of claims increased. That's inflation. Sometimes inflation happens because demand explodes. People suddenly buy more. Houses, cars, electronics, travel. But supply can't keep up, so businesses raise prices. Wars, oil crises, pandemics, shipping disruptions. These can destroy supply chains globally. And when supply falls, prices rise. And here's the terrifying part. Modern economies are so connected that one crisis in one country can increase prices worldwide. But if inflation is unavoidable sometimes, how do countries stop it from becoming a disaster? When inflation rises too fast, central banks step in, and their most powerful weapon? Interest rates. When central banks raise interest rates, loans become expensive, borrowing slows down, spending decreases, demand cools. This slows inflation, at least in theory. Think of the economy like a speeding car. Interest rates are the brakes. But there's a problem. If you brake too hard, you crash the economy. Businesses slow down. Layoffs increase. People suffer. This is why people suddenly panic when rates rise. Mortgages become painful. Credit card debt explodes. Monthly payments feel heavier. And average people feel trapped. But here's what separates wealthy people from average people during inflation. They don't just survive it. Sometimes, they profit from it. Inflation destroys savers, but it can reward asset owners. That's the difference. Rich people usually own businesses, real estate, stocks, assets, and many of these assets rise with inflation. Imagine someone owns apartment buildings. Inflation rises. Rent rises too. Their income increases. Now compare that to someone keeping cash in savings. Their purchasing power shrinks every year. Same economy, different outcomes. The poor hold currency. The wealthy hold assets. And inflation exposes that difference brutally. This is why inflation feels unfair. Because people working hardest often suffer most, while asset owners quietly become wealthier. Imagine climbing a mountain, while the mountain itself keeps getting taller. That's what inflation feels like for millions. So now comes the most important question. What should normal people actually do? You may not control inflation, but you can control your response to it. The best protection against inflation is becoming more valuable. People with rare skills adapt faster. Not financial advice, but historically, businesses, stocks, real estate, productive assets tend to outperform cash long term. Most people spend years learning how to work, but almost no time learning how money itself works. That's dangerous, because modern life is financial, whether people like it or not. Inflation is not just economics. It's psychological. It changes stress, relationships, dreams, entire generations. And once you understand it, you stop seeing money the same way, forever. The scary thing about inflation is that it doesn't feel dangerous immediately. It feels gradual, small increases, tiny changes, until one day, people realize the life they could once afford has quietly disappeared. And maybe that's why understanding money matters now more than ever. Because in modern society, financial ignorance has become extremely expensive. If this video changed the way you see inflation, subscribe to MintLore. Because the people who understand money usually understand the future first.